next up, we have a presentation from Delecta Limited with the ticker code DLC, a company exploring its REX Uranium Project in Colorado. To tell us more, I will now hand you over to the Managing Director, Malcolm Day. Hello, Malcolm.
Hi, Jane. How are you? Thanks for that.
That's all right. Let me bring up your presentation.
So the company acquired the project back in June last year. Things were looking quite good for uranium. The outlook was quite positive. We did an initial rock chip sampling field program, produced some great results. We had an average grade of 0.22%. But then things changed a little bit for the outlook. But let me go back a few steps. So we acquired 60% of Sunrise Minerals back in June last year. That company owns the REX project. Consists of nearly 5,000 acres, or circa 5,000 acres, which is about 20 square kilometres. So it's a large land holding. It's located within the Uravan mineral belt, and that Uravan mineral belt is well known. It's got a rich history of uranium and also vanadium mining. It was actually they mined both uranium and vanadium from late 1800s. But then it was 1952 when Charlie Steen hit about, I think it was a 21-metre intercept, and that put Moab and the Uravan mineral belt on the map with the uranium boom, 1952. Since then, it's had extensive uranium vanadium mining. That's come and gone with the ebbs and flows of uranium price. But look, we're in a great location. The project's essentially a brownfields operation or project. There's 4 historic mines on the project, and so the project stalled last year, primarily because the price of uranium stagnated. And in fact, there was a number of analyst reports come out not long after we acquired the project, and most of them forecast the price of uranium to stick around the $30 a pound sort of mark. So we never did a lot of work on the project, but of course that all changed earlier on this month. Obviously we'd Sprott in the market buying uranium. The price has shot up to circa $50 US a pound. We've had another surveyor and a geologist back out in the field, and they've done another program of field mapping and rock chip sampling. We've submitted those samples off for assaying, and we expect those results back sometime next month. So that's a quick snapshot. Okay, so I'm obviously the managing director. I have about 16% of the company, so I have plenty of skin in the game. My friend Brian Hughes is the chairman. He's doing a great job. We've got just over 1 billion shares on issue at the moment, and at 1.4 cents caps the company at about 16 mil. We've got about 2.6 million in the bank. We've got a small shareholding in European Lithium, which I'm a director of. Today's value is circa $1 million, so we've got about 3.6 mil cash or cash equivalents. We think that'll fund us through to at least past our first drilling campaign. Ideally, we'll get another surveyor and a team, geological team, back out on site later this calendar year. Their objective will be to continue with the field mapping, continue with more rock chip sampling. They'll take a scintillometer out and a XRF as well. There's a lot of outcropping vanadium, which is quite fortuitous, because where the vanadium is, there's also the uranium, so it's pretty easy to pick up mineralisation to a certain degree. But they'll be back out in the field. We'll do another, that field program will be completed before Christmas. Assay results should be back before Christmas for that program as well. And then obviously we then need to sit down and do some desktop work to look at structures and potential mineralisation, and we'd be aiming to come up with a set of drill targets early next calendar year. Okay, so just going back to again the area. I mean, it's in a world-class region, known mineralisation. It's got a rich history of uranium mining, high grade. The grades are much higher than a number of the projects here in Australia. the historic grade in the Uravan mineral belt is 0.24% for uranium oxide, and 1.25% for vanadium. Vanadium, I think, is currently around $8.70 US a pound, so it's quite possibly almost economic without the uranium, but it's a significant vanadium credit. Now, one of the advantages of being in that area, we'll come to the next slide in a sec, is having the White Mesa Mill as well. Okay, so the White Mesa Mill is within trucking distance from our project. That's owned by Energy Fuels. They're currently running on about 10% capacity, so they have about 90% spare. They're open, or they're amenable to toll treatment. So it leaves us in the enviable position, I suppose, if we're able to define an economic resource that we don't have so much of a capex to get it up and running, we can simply truck it down to White Mesa Mill. Okay, so this really just covers off the results of our initial rock chip sampling exercise, which was conducted June, July last year. So again, the historic grade for the area is 0.24% uranium oxide. Our rock chip sampling exercise returned an average grade of 0.22% and a maximum grade of 0.5%. But again, they're generally a lot higher than the grades you see here in Australia and also in Africa and Namibia, etc. as well. Again, just recapping the White Mesa Mill, they're running at 10% capacity. And they're within trucking distance of our project. So, okay, so we're in the Uravan mineral belt. We're in a world-class jurisdiction. We don't have any problems with BLM there, which is very handy. That belt, the Uravan mineral belt, historically has produced 86 million pounds of uranium since the late 1800s, and again was put primarily on the map in 1952 with Charlie Steen. The closest city is Moab. They have a lot of experienced personnel through there. It's pretty easy for us to utilise those guys. We've got a team with a surveyor and geologist on the ground over there living close by, so that's also fortuitous. We're in the right place at the right time. It's a brownfields project, so we know there's mineralisation there. Our objective now is to try and define an economic resource. So that's where we're at in summary. Thanks for that, Shane. Let's move on to questions.
Thank you for that, Malcolm. Great presentation as always. So you've talked obviously about the rock chip samples going to the assay labs. Is there going to be any delays in that?
There shouldn't be. They've told us a couple of weeks. I've allowed 3 or 4 just in case. Obviously, with COVID, slows things down a little bit, but we'd expect results out early to mid next month, so soon. And as soon as we get those results, we'll sit down and review them in conjunction with previous exploration results, and that'll enable us to look at where to define or focus our exploration efforts for the next round.
Perfect. There's actually a question that's come through from one of our Twitter attendees. So does the company plan to acquire further projects in the area to expand the land holding?
Yes, that's the objective. We're currently reviewing a number of projects in the area as well. What should I say at the moment? What should I say? Sunrise Minerals is, we've got a great partner on the ground over there. He has been reviewing projects for the last couple of months, but certainly this month, he's obviously lifted the ante somewhat.
And just next one. So what's the next steps in the exploration strategy and what should shareholders look forward to?
Okay, so again, we should receive the results back from the assay results back from the last round of rock chip sampling next month. We'll make an announcement in that regard. We'll then get the team back out in the field before Christmas. We need to get out there before it starts getting a bit cold. And then, of course, we should have those next assay results back before Christmas as well. And the objective is to define drill targets early next calendar year and then try and get a drilling program as quickly as possible. With the cash we have at bank, we think we have enough in there to at least conduct the first drilling pass.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today, Malcolm. And if webinar attendees do have any further questions, please reach out via the contact details on the bottom of the ASX releases. But thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, guys.